World serves its own needs. Listen to your heart bleed. Tell me with the rapture and the reverend and the right. You vitriolic, patriotic, slam fight, bright light, feeling pretty psyched. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. Oh, oh, hi there. Just caught me reading just a little tome. This is X-Men, first issue. This is the smallest casual read. I try to get a little reading in before I stream. I can't. If I hold this thing in front of me, y'all can't even hear me. This is the Taschen X-Men Volume 1, 63 to 1966. I'm going to promote this on a future stream when I actually have a link for it. But look at the size of this thing. Look at the size. It can't even fit it on the screen. Right? Holy cow. The only way to read X-Men. We're going to talk about comics today. Hey, everybody. I'm Dave Busing, founder and editor-in-chief of comicbookherald.com. Appreciate those of you joining here live. You can, of course, catch these live every week on Comic Book Herald here on YouTube. You can also listen to the podcast, Comic Book Herald Podcast, Best Comics Ever. We put these up every week there as well, so you never, ever miss an episode. We've had some good ones lately. Did an Immortal Thor deep dive with guest Chad Nevitt, the Immortal historian, had on the pod. We had Brianna Lawrence to talk the essential manga. Next week, I'm going to be going deep in Ultimate X-Men, the new Ultimate X-Men with Zach Davison, who is adapting Peach Momoko's scripts, translating Peach Momoko's scripts, has worked with Peach across Marvel's Demon Day saga, and now on to Ultimate X-Men. So we're going to get a chance to talk to one of the creators of the Ultimate Universe, the Ultimate Tooniverse, as I've settled on. The Ultimate Tooniverse flipping rules right now. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Between Marvel's Ultimate Universe and Jonathan Hickman doing alternate reality stories, I'm good. I'm covered. I'm happy. Marvel kind of like Marvel, if I don't even have to look for a split second, at historically the only thing I would have paid attention to, which is like in continuity, ongoing shared Marvel Universe comics, irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. Don't need them. I got Ultimate Tooniverse. I got Jonathan Hickman written Ultimate Universes, and then I got everything else I'm reading, which is of course often more exciting. We'll share some of the best of what's going on this month. Holy cow! This month, August, I caught up on just a stacked amount of great new comics. I publish every month the best new trades and graphic novels of the year. Every month I'm doing this. I'm the only one who's doing this monthly. I got to tell you what, too. Okay, listen. I have so many things I want to tell you. I haven't had a solo show in ages, right? I got all these guests, and I got to give them time. I can't just ramble. I can't just get out my thoughts and say everything I want to say to you, the customer, right? And of course, I think probably you've missed it, right? Probably you're like, I wish Dave would just yell at me for an hour. But here's the thing. New York Times trying to do a monthly comics recap. They're trying, and this is zero shade. I promise you, zero shade at the writer of the New York Times who's actually spotlighting graphic novels on an institution of that size, okay? Their list pale in comparison to mine. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is New York Times best comics of the month list pale in comparison to Comic Book Herald. If you want to find those, you of course go to comicbookherald.com. You sign up for the email newsletter, you get them sent to you every month. You will be the envy of all of your friends at parties. All of your friends at parties will be saying, I wish I was caught up in the scene, and I wish I knew what the best new comics were. And you will say, but I do. But I do, and it's because I read Dave every month, right? How could you not want that at parties? This is why I don't get invited to parties. I don't know. Could be related. Could not be. I'm excited to be here. Thanks everybody for joining again. You can find all the stuff at Comic Book Herald. Great month for CBH. August. I'll tell you what. Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios, you're listening. Keep listening, please. Every month, I just have an idea for you. Okay? I just one idea. I would say every month you should announce Robert Downey Jr. as an iconic villain, and you should launch a Nostalgia Fest starring Hugh Jackman in the movie theaters. I think if you do that once a month, comicbookherald.com traffic, boom, spikes, baby. I've also seen, and you know what's interesting? So we had RDJ's Doom, right? Big news. And then we had Hugh and Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool versus Wolverine. A lot of attention around Marvel, right? It was a big month for fans. A lot of the CBH traffic, it wasn't just Deadpool reading order. It wasn't just Wolverine reading order. It wasn't just Doctor Doom reading order. It was like everything, right? And I think this is a thing that I've been saying for years now. I have the data, okay? I have the analysis here just on an anecdotal what's happening on CBH level. And it big tentpole MCU stuff drives so much searcher and fan interest in people trying to get into Marvel Comics. I see this with people searching for where do I start with Marvel Comics. I see this for people looking for a Marvel Comics reading order. And of course, they turn to CBH for these things. And I also see this now on YouTube, where I put up videos on where to start with Marvel, where to start with DC, right? I put up those last year. Those in the last month have gotten like as many comments as they did when they first came out, okay? So people are always like, oh, it doesn't actually drive readers, these totally separate audiences. And it's like, no, it does. It does. 100% it drives interest in trying to read them. Now, whether or not Marvel's good at capturing those audiences, whether or not like the direct market comic shop is good at maintaining readers, arguments, right? That's you start sinking in, you get deeper, then it's like, okay, maybe it's not as effective as it should be. And I would totally agree with. But it drives interest. Absolutely. It drives interest in people actually wanting to read comic books, which I did this week. We're going to talk about Alien versus Avengers. We got two flippin' new Jonathan Hickman written comics. We're going to talk Alien vs. Avengers. We're going to talk Wolverine Revenge. Not for long, though. There's not much to say. Alien vs. Avengers, though. I got plenty to say. I got a lot of thoughts. Talk a little Ultimate X-Men. Like I said, I'm not going to go as deep into Ultimate X-Men this week because next week we're going to have one of the creators on the book talking about it. And we'll talk about all 6 issues, kind of where the Ultimate Universe is at. I loved Ultimate X-Men number 6 today. Loved. Really flipping good today. And then, getting your questions, getting your thoughts. I want to know, what are people talking about? I have not read any From the Ashes stuff since Uncanny X-Men. I don't think. Probably, like, I think realistically, it's like I'm excited about the ones I've been excited about, which is Storm and Sentinels, because I like those creators. I'm going to read Uncanny X-Men when those issues come out. And at some point, I will like binge or catch up on the ones that folks tell me are worth keeping up with. But otherwise, it's not a thing I need to read week to week. I do not have that urge. It feels like homework. It feels, and like I just said, like my Marvel meals are supplied these days. Cooked very well. They're prepared very much to my liking through the Ultimate Tooniverse and through these Hickman Ultimate Universes like Alien vs. Avengers. Like that, I'm good. Like I've had enough. Here's the thing. I love pizza, okay? Absolutely love pizza. I don't actually want it every meal. I think I want it every meal, but I don't actually want it every meal. I'm covered on Marvel Comics. From the Ashes I do not need that. So I'll be curious if folks in the chat are like, oh, actually, like Nick's is great or whatever, right? Like I would love to hear that from folks who are here and want to share what they're digging. But I am certain I don't need it. Okay? So we're going to talk about comics today. Again, getting your questions, getting your thoughts. I do want to plug a really fun, especially if you've got like, if you really like YA, if you want a magical school replacement in your life that isn't written by just someone just dissolving into abject bigotry. House of Harkness on Marvel Unlimited. Every magic user in the Marvel Universe is a teen. Scarlet Witch, Agatha Harkness, Doctor Stephen Strange, Loki. They're all teens. They're all the same age. They're all in a magical school for wizards and witches and whatever the heck you want to call them. It's a nice, fun use of like taking a swing on Marvel Concepts, putting that on the Infinite Scroll model, making it a value add for Marvel Unlimited subscribers, and bringing in diverse, like talented creators that otherwise would not get a shot in the DM publicated market. So if that sounds up your alley, if you've ever thought like, I wish, Harry Potter was done with Wanda Maximoff and Stephen Strange, like, this is it. Check it out. House of Harkness. Okay. Let's talk. Questions. Hashim says, I took you as a completionist, Dave. Yeah, no, like yes, for much of my life. And that is a thing that I've had to fight against, right? That's why Comic Book Herald and these guides for the past decade are so thorough and helpful to people who need them, is because I have that completionist urge. And for a good long time, absolutely wanted to read everything. And I think even understanding that, like, well, some of this isn't going to be as good. Like, I've very much at points in my life have valued the shared universe potential and just feeling like you know all the nooks and crannies in all the corners of the Marvel universe. I've enjoyed that experience. Here's the thing, though. I've had that experience. Through my Marvelous Year, we go year by year through the Marvel Comics universe from its origins to today. We've covered from 61 up to 2007, almost 2008 now, right? I don't need to keep up with it in the way that I used to. And I think what especially emphasizes that is, as I've read more and more varieties of comics, as I've found more and more like how I can get new, exciting graphic novels and manga and just comics in my hands, I'm like, you have to pick and choose, right? It's like any media. There's so much media available to us all the time, if we're privileged enough to be in a position where we can sit and have that time and enjoy it. And I am, and I'm very grateful for that. And I want to pick the things that I think are going to be very exciting and very good. I don't need to keep up with Marvel Comics just to keep up with Marvel Comics. That time in my life has passed me by. Now, if I'm super invested in a thing and it gets my attention and I'm excited about it, and it's it is, again, satisfying the measures of taste that I look for in comics, like the Ultimate Universe is, then I'm going to read all those issues. Absolutely, right? So the completionist urges they will continue to exist in certain capacities. But I've said this before, even with Krakoa, like, I was not a weekly X-Men reader before Krakoa. I was a dip in and try things on Marvel Unlimited, and most of the things I tried were not good. Right? The eras between Morrison and Hickman, there's a lot left to be desired in many, many, many of those comics. So it's I don't know, I think part of it too is just like, I was always very skeptical. I was always very cynical about, I'd see these comics critics or folks that I liked discussing comics, and kind of they would hit a point where they clearly treated superhero comics as less than. And I always kind of thought, like, oh, I kind of hope I never hit that, right? I kind of hope I can always enjoy this and not belittle this thing that so many people love and that I have spent so much time enjoying and getting into. And I still very much want to keep that in the back of my mind. But I do think, like, to me, it is stranger to sit through these cycles and never tire of them than it is to be like, I have gone through several Marvel cycles now, and often it ends very unsatisfying. I would like to experience stories in other ways and other mediums and even just other comics, without the limitations and without the cyclical nature and without the back to basics and all the worst impulses of a Disney-owned Marvel Comics machine, right? So I think that's natural. I think that happens to just about everybody. Hashim says, have you and I aged out, and does Marvel target the completionists? Is that a good business model? I see, that's the thing, is like, I often question that. And like, in some ways, I have aged out of Marvel Comics. In some ways, yes. I am less taken by their C plus work used to feel very passable to me. Now it is an absolute waste of my time, and I'm mad that I spent time with it. Right? Whereas before, it might have been like, yes, like this is a part of the completionist saga. I want to put all this together. I'm interested in documenting this on CBH, right? Those sorts of things seemed paramount. They seemed important. Where I'd be documenting an X-Men reading order for From the Ashes. Right now, I do not care to do that. It is not of value, right? It doesn't sound fun, and it will not be profitable. Which who cares? But like, it won't be. I think, does Marvel target the completionists? Absolutely. That's why you've seen event tie-ins take off throughout the 2000s. Is it a good business model? It must move some comics. I think it makes people mad, and eventually it burns them out. I don't think it's a good long-term strategy, and I don't think Marvel's good at long-term strategies. Honestly, I think they think very, very short-term, pretty much all the time, and that leads to the things that are the most infuriating or aggravating about them. But the reason I can tell that I haven't just straight up aged out of soups, even though in a lot of ways I have, compared to where I was previously, right? In a lot of ways, that's just it's not my appetite anymore, right? Tastes change. And plus, it's I overindulged. I had too much, but like I said, like the Ultimate Universe, I'm enjoying the hell out of. So it's not. I think there's a way, and Aliens versus Avengers today we're going to talk about. I love that issue. I'm not even an Aliens guy. We're going to talk about it. But like, okay, we'll talk about it. I really enjoyed that issue. So there's a way these things can be done. There are versions of these that are more allowing of, like Juni Ba doing his own version of Robin. I'm like, hell yeah, that's a cartoonist I love. I want to see their work. The fact that it's like in a superhero comic, I'm not like denigrating it because of that, right? I'm not like opposed to reading it because of that, Dennis Camp being like a fascinating writer, Juan Frigeri doing great work with them on Ultimates. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to read every single one of these issues. But I think the act of like, it's just a bad idea to try to be a completionist with superhero universes, especially Marvel. They have overindulged in publishing far too many comics for far too long, playing games of shelf space and market share and variant covers that are in no way conducive to actually producing high quality content and supporting their own talent, right? And I think they've been doing this for year after year after year after year. If you walk up and down the comic shop, the sheer number of Marvel comics that are on that wall in my comic shop and the number that I actually want to pull off and read, it is a very low percentage. And that is not about the creators. There are so many good comics creators. It is insane who can do good stories with these comics, but they just have to churn. There's a bit of a McDonald's hamburger factory to it with it, right? And that is something that I think I look at the Ultimate Universe as a way of reducing. I look at something like Krakoa as a focused attempt for a little while, as a way of reducing. I look at DC Black Label, right? Things that try to tell you, like, we are not just focused on quantity over quality. And sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes it's that simple. But yeah, I mean, it's a problem, or it can be. But it doesn't mean superhero comics can't appeal. They very much can. Okay. All right. So let's see. Get any other questions? And let's see. Vincent here says, "Have you ever eaten wolf meat? Why are my chops? Am I looking wolfish today? Am I looking a little Jack Russell? Little Jack Russell Terrier? Who among us in the chat has eaten wolf meat? Perhaps is a better question. I would love to know. Truly, how many Comic Book Herald live listeners have ever even had the opportunity to eat wolf meat? You could have even passed. That's our question for today. The question for today, thank you, Vincent, for reminding me of what I was going to ask everyone. The question for today, have you ever had the opportunity to eat wolf meat? That's what I want to know today. Justin says, wait, you guys don't eat wolf. This could be a cultural thing. This could be cultural. It could be regional. I am willing to admit that. We actually have far more coyotes here in our area in the Midwest. They are diseased and rabid and kind of gross looking. So I've never been tempted to eat coyote, but I've never been lost in the woods long enough either. I would not last long. I would not last long if I, like, can you know those things where it's like zombie apocalypse or somebody's lost in the woods and they have to just like eat a raw fish or like a rabbit even, right? Which is like probably like decent. No chance. Zero chance I'm eating that. I would starve in not long hours. much shorter than the time than it actually takes a human body to starve. People be like, oh, you could survive without food for 3 days. I'd be like 4 hours. I'm like, nah, I'm out, guys. That's all I had. Javi says, I've had zebra. That can't be legal in the States, at least, to eat zebra. Let's see. Can you eat zebra? Well, eating zebra mussels is not recommended. Is that like a... Yeah, that's like a clam. You talking about clams, Javi? All right, we're going to talk about comics. Y'all keep getting in these thoughts. Let's do this. Okay. Oh, there's little Demon Days for you. I've been catching up for this Ultimate X-Men interview. I went back and I was reading all of Demon Days and the Demon War saga. I slept on that comic too hard. I slept on Demon Days too hard. It's also very educational. It tells you a lot about Ultimate X-Men, okay? But we're not going to start there. We're not going to start there today. Let's see. Can I... How do I skip images? I don't remember. One of these buttons. No, whatever. You get what you get. I want to talk about Aliens vs. Avengers first. Jonathan Hickman, Esad Ribic, together again at last. They did Secret Wars together. The best comic book event of all time. And honestly, it's probably not especially close. It's a real good #1 issue. I think I had a two-pronged thought. Two thoughts? I'm not even drinking today. I had 2 trains of thought around Alien versus Avengers. #1, I don't care about these license crossovers. I don't care about Alien. I don't care about Predator insofar as they interact with the Marvel Universe. Right? We've seen Wolverine versus Predator stuff. Even attaching straight up my favorite Marvel Comics writer of the last, 15 years with the artist who did Thor God of Thunder and Secret Wars and just amazing work by Esad Ribic and Ultimates with Hickman. Even that, I'm like, listen, I'm going to check it out, but I have very low expectations. And actually, even saying I have low expectations is like unfair because it's like I have no expectations. I have never seen an Alien movie. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? How many of you are about to put the water bottles down, put down the comics? I know you're all getting fired up. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that I haven't seen an Alien movie. I have not seen an Alien movie. Now, technically, that's untrue because I watched 40 minutes of Alien last night. Okay, put the comics back down. Put them down. I know you're about to throw things at me. Hear me out. I fully intended to watch all of Alien last night, 1979, directed by Ridley Scott. I had in my head that it was James Cameron. Apparently that's the second one. I had fully intended to watch it. Kiddo got sick. Kiddo was sick, up yelling every 3 minutes, not happy. It wasn't meant to be. Okay, I'm gonna finish it tonight. Odin willing, right? Morpheus willing. If the God of dreams can grant my young ones some sleep tonight, I'm gonna finish Alien. I gotta tell you, first 40 minutes, that leaves a little something to be desired. Entirely unfair way to rank this movie. I fully expect I'm going to enjoy it. Okay, so I'm gonna watch Alien, but I have no Alien knowledge. And now, this is the way things go for me, is I will never have heard of a book or a movie or some very popular piece of pop culture. Obviously, I've heard of Alien, but I haven't watched it. I will never have experienced these things. And then they will, like, tangentially cross over with comics. and suddenly they are of great interest to me. Zach on My Marvelous Year makes fun of me for this all the time, and it's true. If I'm doing anything like media-wise that is not reading a comic, he always calls me out, and he's always right that it has some tangential comics thing, right? Like if I'm oh, I watched Double Indemnity for the first time, or oh, I just read some Raymond Chandler. He's like, oh, so you're interviewing someone who's writing a noir comic, and he was right. He was right. I was interviewing Matt Kent. Like that is how my brain works. That is why I do things. So now that I love Aliens vs. Avengers, probably it's my favorite Avengers comic since Secret Wars. I'm gonna watch all the Aliens movies. Okay. But what I need to know from you, so we have two important questions in the chat today. Number one, have you ever had the opportunity to eat wolf? And number two, after I'm going to watch Alien and I'm going to watch Aliens. That is, it seems like a clear no-brainer. But then the big important question is, do I watch any other Alien movies, or do I jump straight to Prometheus? Okay? That's what I want to know. Do I watch any other Alien movies in between Aliens and Prometheus? Bruce Legacy says none of the Alien movies are as good as the Alien vs. Avengers comic. Listen, I have already resigned myself to that. I'm confident, I'm certain that none of these Alien movies are going to have a moment where Hulk hulks out on a xenomorph and Valeria Richards comes back from time, and T'Challa's son, by way probably of Aurora, we saw some lightning flying out there. Oh, come on, Hickman pulling the X-Men plot that he couldn't do or didn't get to do post Giants. We got it. Oh, we're going to talk about the X-Men. We're going to talk about the Krakoa of it all. I'm sure none of these movies hold a candle to the 22 pages I read today. But I do need to know, do I read anything after, or do I watch anything between Aliens and Prometheus? Okay, that's a very important question I have for you. Well, let's talk about the X-Men part of this first. Okay, we got Hickman returning to Krakoa for a moment. We got him doing so in Hickman's interview with J. Miles Explain the X-Men. He said one of his plots he wanted to do after what was it called, Giant Size Storm, right? The silent issue, the homage to the Quiet Lee Morrison silent issue. That it was going to be Storm was pregnant, and it was going to be Black Panthers, and it was going to be, they'd have a son together, and that got kiboshed for whatever reasons. I think we're doing it here. Alien vs. Avengers is very much pulling from like Hickman's use of the Brood. The Brood, of course, very famously an Aliens ripoff. I knew that without even ever having seen the movies. Right? We got Queen Eggs. We got Queen Xenomorphs. He's getting to use all that Brood cosmic stuff. Like, there's a lot of Krakoan DNA in Aliens vs. Avengers. There's also a ton of, like, kind of Hickman's, like, the Hickman verse of Marvel. So the stuff he did in Secret Wars, Reed resetting the universe, his Fantastic Four run, of course, the fixation on Valeria Richards, which we saw earlier this year in the best Marvel comic of the year, Doom, #1, right? Clearly Hickman's favorite character is Valeria Richards. We get Miles instead of Pete. We got Hulk. We got Captain Marvel. We got our boy Waylon. I thought the dude in the wheelchair was, so first thought is obviously Professor X. Then I was like, I don't think they're actually doing that. So then I was like, well, I think, like, is his name Waylon? And he's like, so what is he, like, Waylon Jennings? And he's like a new Inhuman? So we got Waylon Jennings, the new Inhuman. And then after I was like, wait, no, that's probably like an Alien universe thing. Right? This is how much I don't know about the Alien universe. And it was like, okay, yeah, the Wayland Corporation is this big megacorp in Alien. So I think that's what that reference is. Oh, this comic good. Like I said, turns out the Ultimate Universe and getting Hickman alternate universes are exactly the Marvel diet I needed. Also, you know what's awesome? You know what never lets me down? Low expectations. Low expectations are so great. Love low expectations. You go into a thing and you're like, it's probably going to be a little weird cash grab. And then it's awesome. How fun is that? That's amazing. I love that. Nothing worse than high expectations. Go into a thing, you're like, this better be awesome. You can only lose that. Okay? You got to go into everything with low expectations. Never expect anything. Right? That's why my wife's so happy with me. Right? Low expectations. So it's like, this man will do very little, and he will achieve not a whole lot. And then I do some stuff. Thrilling. He got a tissue in the garbage can. Set the bar low. Right? It makes comics so much more enjoyable. Aliens vs. Avengers, this is awesome. I'm already disappointed it's only 5 issues. It's an alternate reality. We're in the future. I saw someone saying, like, oh, it's like Dark Knight Returns. I mean, no. Like, in the sense that the characters are older, yes. And that time has passed. It not getting huge DKR vibes on this one. I mean, this is like the Marvel Universe. This is like a little bit more like Marvel Zombies, honestly, in that, like, the Marvel Universe is already destroyed and lost. There's no saving it. There's no coming back. There's one little city left and a handful of characters. The aliens already won, right? The aliens already won. So this is a Marvel characters trying to survive. And you got a great cast here with a little venomy Miles Morales. Oops, sorry. Get a little Midwestern on that. Oops, sorry. A bit of a spoiler there. Perhaps we don't want to talk about that in too much detail until I've said spoiler warning. You got Hulk, you got Captain Marvel. And they're a bit older. But they're still strong. Oh, I love this comic. So much. I'm very excited for the rest of this. Hickman and Revenge brought the energy. You know who didn't bring the energy? was Hickman on Wolverine Revenge. That comment. Hang on, have the images not changed? What's going on here? Oh boy. Have you all been looking at House of Harkness this whole time? For real? What a pro. Man, I'm so good at this stuff. It's a wonder. It really does boggle the mind why I don't have more millions of subscribers. You really have to ask yourself, where can you get a conversation like this? So erudite, so fun, so connected to the audience, and so stuck on one single image of House of Harkness. Oh boy, what a plug for that comic. They should be paying me an ad for that. Yeesh. Huge plug for House. I didn't like it that much. Nice time. I like what they're doing there, but holy cow, the whole episode? It wasn't that good. All right, let's see. James says, confirms Wheelchair Guy is from the Alien franchise. There we go. James says, Hickman blended Alien and Marvel worlds very well. It did blend very seamlessly, I thought. I think part of that is it's just the Brood, which we've already had. But obviously Aliens is more fleshed out. So it seems. Let's see. Justin says, old Carol threatening to go beyond binary has me hyped. Yeah, she seems cool still. She looks good with that East Side Ridge helmet. Fitzgerald, I'm glad somebody remembered the Intergalactic Empire of Wakanda. Hell yeah, Hickman pulling the Intergalactic Empire. Hell yeah, that looked good. That felt good. The Coates run of Black Panther is heavily indebted to Hickman's prior work on Black Panther and kind of the builds of that character. It is no surprise that Hickman might look back on the Coates stuff and be like, this kind of rules. There's some good stuff here. That was cool to see. It's nice to see, because, we haven't really, obviously we have the X-Men side of things, right? But we haven't really seen, like, what are the things that Hickman might have thought were cool between 2016 and Hoxpox, or even 2016 and now. There's a lot of toys that haven't been played with there. So seeing the Intergalactic Empire, seeing Old Man Black Panther on a mission, hell yeah. This comic was so good, I'm gonna watch a bunch of Aliens movies. All right. I just that's really where it nets out. I don't think there's any more to it than that. I don't know that Eastside Ribbich learned any new tricks necessarily. I mean, this definitely feels very much like the work on Secret Wars, except guess what? That's my favorite Marvel comic event of all time, so I'm good with that. I am happy with it continuing to be incredible ribbage interiors. I don't necessarily need fancy new tricks. Speaking of no fancy new tricks, we got Greg Capullo, Jonathan Hickman on Wolverine Revenge. So we got alternate reality comics. I'm excited that it's happening. This one was a disappointment, I thought. Wolverine Revenge. Listen, I love Capullo stuff, but if you want to see Greg Capullo doing, kind of alternate reality, semi-post-apocalypse comics, read Batman: The Last Night on Earth. That is a real good post-Snyder Capullo Batman run, final coda from the two of them together on Batman. I love Batman: Last Night on Earth. Wolverine Revenge is like wants to be in that conversation, like wants that energy. I'm seeing here it's Cupulo. Is that right? Cupulo? I don't feel better saying that. I think Capullo sounds cooler. If somebody told me, they were like, all right, I know you say your name Dave Busing, but actually, Dave Bussin sounds better. I don't think that's true, though. If you could pronounce Busing in such a way that I agreed with you that it sounded better, I don't know that I'd be mad about that, is what I'm getting at. Okay, but we got Capullo. Yeah? Capullo? Every comics creator, on every comic they do, should have a little translation, a little pronunciation guide under their name. We could call it the Chris Bacalo rule. Okay? Someone somewhere is going to want to talk about you, especially in today's age. Come on, social media. Have you heard of social media? It is all the rage. I'm out here trying to say Chris Bacalo, and I can't do it because they don't have pronunciation guides in comics. We need that. We need it so bad. I've got 7,000 different attempts to pronounce this name in the comments right now. Randall says, "Cuh" like cuz. Sanford Green says, "Capullo." Capullo. Okay. That feels better. Is that the real Sanford Green? AKA creator, writer, artist of the best Marvel comic this year? Even if it's not. Shouts to Sanford Green. Artist of Bitter Root? Come on. Amazing stuff. Capullo. Greg Capullo. I'm going to keep doing it until I got it. Okay, Greg Capullo is amazing. I love the red band. I love the violence. I love the skill. I just don't think there are really especially big ideas in Wolverine Revenge. You know me, I'm an idea guy. I'm not a pronunciation guy. I've made that very clear. I need an idea here in Wolverine Revenge. There is no idea. It is just pure adrenaline. And I think for some folks, that's going to be awesome, right? I got to tell you, watching Greg and Jonathan, we're going to go on a first-name basis here. That feels safer. We're going to go on a first-name basis. Greg and Jonathan, fun Wolverine versus dinosaur stuff. I had a good time with that. I got to sit, draw some dinosaurs with my boys. It's like, hey, check out this comic. Listen, I didn't show them all the panels. It's a red band comic. Can't be doing that with toddlers. Come on. Get you thrown away. Throw away the key. Lock you up. Sir, we got somebody who showed a red band comic to one of his young ones. We're going to have to take you away. Bring you to social workers. So that was fun. It was a good time. I like the action. I like Colossus and Deadpool and Omega Red. Like everything about this feels like it should be kind of exciting. I need some hook. I need a big idea in this comic. That's all I'm asking for. Every other Hickman connected alternate universe has one so far this year. The Doom one shot, best Marvel comic of the year, by the way. Aliens vs. Avengers. And what is the big hook with Wolverine vs. Revenge? Because I do think it can't just be like the return of a creator. Because that is so inside baseball. You know? That is so just for old heads who follow comics forever and are extremely plugged in to like online news sources. You know? Like that's like it's cool that Capullo, how's that? Is back at Marvel. I want to see more. But I need more from Wolverine Revenge. That's all. That's all I gotta say about that. All right. Keep the questions coming. Keep the thoughts. I want to hear them. I want to talk about them. Have I gotten an answer on aliens yet? I have not seen a lot of people who've said they had Wolf. So honestly, I feel like maybe Victor. Was it Victor? I feel Vincent. I think you have more explaining to do because I felt a little I felt not off guard, right? Obviously, I'm prepared for anything here, but I felt a little like maybe I was the weaker one for having not eaten wolf. It was just the vibe. It was just the tone of the question where it was like maybe I failed in some way by not eating wolf. Doesn't that sound? Isn't that just one of like the stupidest things you could do to be like, now you're a man, man, right? Is like you've eaten wolf meat. Vincent, explain yourself. Under what context have you eaten wolf? I have seen no one else confirm this. Hector JM is asking, what did you think of Brevoort's comments about Krakoa? Oh boy. What did Tom say? I don't know. I have not read the. I skim the Brevoort newsletter every now and again. Like I said, it's a really insightful window into the mind of the longest tenured Marvel editor like ever, but certainly in modern times, right? You just it's the transparency is interesting, but I do not know what he said. So let me know what was said, and I will happily address. The world is waiting, right? My silence on Brevoort's comments on Krakoa is deafening. Oh, it is a deafening silence. The world wants to know. What do you think? Somebody tell me what was said, and I'll talk about it. Nobody except me said fried wolf chops. Is that confirmation that you've had it, or just how cool it sounds? Dow says, love me some chicken fried. All right, now y'all are just messing with me. Chicken fried wolf. Okay. Now we're just screwing around. I want to know more about it. I do, though. All right, what are people saying about Alien? Randall says the first few panels were a thing from Prometheus. I wondered about that. I did wonder about that, actually. It had Prometheus energy. Come on. The first line's there, too. What was it? Sometimes things don't turn out the way you expect them to. Come on, that's so Krakoa coded. Is that just me? Am I just too Hickman Krakoa pilled to think that that's not commentary? I know the answer is yes, but that's real Krakoa coded. You know what I liked a lot in so Ultimate X-Men #6 today. First off, I really underrated how Peach and the team will just make things their own. Like in any other Marvel alternate universe, Legion, for example, on FX. Here you go. FX is Legion, one of my favorite Marvel shows, ever. Very much did their own thing with Legion. And you get some Charlie Ball game, and you get a little mutant stuff, and you get the Shadow King, which is the connective tissue here, but like generally speaking is doing its own thing. Is not super indebted to the Marvel mythos. There's not a big Wolverine cameo or something. But even in Legion, Professor Charles Xavier is still Charles Xavier. The Shadow King is still Amal Farouk. Peach and company will just they don't give a hoot. Generally, what a character's real name is. And you notice this in Demon Days a ton, where it's like, oh, that kind of looks like Thor and Aurora, like baby child Aurora, but they're calling Thor like Sasuke or something. I'm sure I have that wrong. And you see it here as well in Ultimate X-Men, where we have this 16-year-old teen, and it's like he's got a proper Japanese name. He's not Amal Farouk, but he is the Shadow King. Like, they will just rebrand and recreate known Marvel entities with reckless abandon. And I love it. It's so against the grain for what we as readers have come to expect, and no one else in the Ultimate Universe is doing it. And I've come to the conclusion here that it is not Peach who should change and get the memo with the rest of the Ultimate Universe. It is the rest of the Ultimate Universe that should get on Peach's wavelength, because she is taking bigger and weirder and less expected swings. I want more of that energy in the comics that I, again, am very much already enjoying. Okay? But, like, it's awesome. It's really good. The 6th issue is, I think a lot of folks are like, oh, it's slow. It's a slow burn. And where's it going? The art's beautiful, but, you know, it doesn't feel like X-Men. And it does, though, is the thing. By 6 issues, we got a whole volume out now. It's got huge Runaways energy. We got this young teen group of mutants. We got some of their parents are part of this cult, the Children of the Atom, right? We got a Shadow King who's a 16-year-old boy whose mutant telepathy has clearly developed in a way that has caused problems, to say the least. I do feel like when you're a teen, if your own mom tries to kill you because your powers are so creepy, like generally a bad sign. Like generally means you're going to be a villain. You don't see a lot of characters come around from that one and be very well adjusted. You got big, and spoilers, big Weapon X energy in that final panel. Who's it going to be? It ain't going to be Logan. I'll tell you that. In Demon Days, most people would be like, oh, okay, so we're doing our Japanese folklore inspired version of the Marvel Universe. We'll have Wolverine involved in some way. Peach is like, we'll have a dog named Logan. Just straight up a dog. I don't think there's even like a twist to that. I could be wrong. I haven't read everything yet. I've been catching up. Just a dog named Logan. Is it a Dog Logan reference like Wolverine Origins written by Paul Jenkins in the early 2000s? No! Peach does not care about that nerd continuity stuff. Every interview with Peach Momoko is like, so what do you think of X-Men? She's like, X-Men seem really cool. I like the Outcast stuff. Never read any, don't care. It's like such anti like nerd stuff. Oh, I love it. Just a slap in the face of years of dedication to continuity. Oh, it's so good. Banksy asks, what does the final panel mean? Is his real body not in the real world? Like he's projecting his body or warping reality to make his body appear to other people? Or am I way off? Huh? What? My final panel was a classic Weapon X on an X-Cross, and I think the Shadow Teen's body on like an operating table back in the cult of the Children of the Atom, right? But I think maybe what you're getting at is like, I think when the Shadow Teen is fighting Hisako Armor and, May Storm and Surge and Nico, but then Nico's just Nico, right? That doesn't change. I think that's a projection, but I think the Shadow King we see at the end, the Shadow Teen rather, that we see at the end of the comic, I think that's the actual physical body, if that's getting at your questions. Right? It's coming together. It's coming together, baby. Ultimate Tooniverse. It's where it's at. Ooh, Gru says it's not an alien reference, so I think he's at least kind of talking Krakoa there. Gru's is with me. Trey says, Dave, this comic was incredibly Krakoa coded. All right. The people are with me. Okay. That's all I needed. Listen, one person agreeing with me, and I'm like, yes, I am right. That's all I need. Justin says, do you think Miles is going to be like a new king? What do you mean, like King in Black kind of thing? Or like Tom King? I think Miles could be a good storyteller. If you want it to be. He seems really busy, though. Probably you're talking about King in Black. Speaking of, I haven't read Jenny Sparks yet. I don't really want to. Makes me nervous. I feel like DC learned the wrong lessons from Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I'm going to leave it there right now. I'm just going to leave it there right now. Interpret that as you will. All right, I'm going to take a sip. I haven't had a sip of water this whole time. I've been so excited. So excited to talk to you all. So excited to talk to Sanford Green. Oh, my goodness. One of my favorites. Sanford Green was one of my first 10 interviews I ever did, I think, for Comic Book Herald. When I started interviewing, my very first was W. Maxwell Prince, the writer of Ice Cream Man, my favorite ongoing comic. And I'm going to guess like 5 or 6 with Sanford Green, and we got the chance to talk about Bare Root. And I'm forever and super grateful for any comics creator that gives me the time of day. But Bare Root, Doom, so much more. There was a Zoop. There was a Zoop that I backed earlier this year too. Y'all remember Zoop? It's like Kickstarter, but for cool comics projects. I'll have to plug that one of these days as well. All right. Getting your questions, getting your thoughts. I'm going to take a sip from our sponsor today. Our sponsor is ice water. Ice water in a water bottle that you thought you could take into work comfortably, but is now covered in very shiny dinosaur stickers. And I'm still taking it to work, and I'm very proud of it. But my son put the shiniest dino stickers. The problem is not that there's dino stickers everywhere. The problem is, like, it's so reflective. It's blinding. We're taking a sip out of that today. That's our sponsor. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. All right, everybody. I think we did a good job today. I feel fine about what happened. Oh, you know what? I haven't promoted new comics yet. Let's do that. Okay. One of my... Somebody tell me in the chat if I already did this, because I can't remember. One of my favorite new comics of this year is Attaboy, out from Mad Cave and Tony McMillan. We're going to rank that on the best comics of all time. If you Google the best comics of all time, you will find my guide where I rank my favorite comic books of all time. Let's see. I've been talking about it today. Where do I have Bitter Root? Number 273 all time. Right above Full Metal Alchemist. How about that? Right below Black Hole. Those are some good-ass comics right there. Okay, but we're going to rank Attaboy today. Attaboy out from Mad Cave right now, and cartoonist Tony McMillan. Holy Samus Aran, I love this comic. Attaboy is the self-published graphic novella of Tony McMillan, now given wider publishing by Mad Cave. It's the secret, in-depth history of a classic video game that may or may not be real. Did I already do this on stream? I may have. That's fine. We haven't ranked it yet. Okay? It's a gorgeously illustrated love letter to Mega Man and Metroidvania with an unexpected, gut-punching message at the center. If you like the work of Mikkel Fife on Copra or Jesse Lonergan on Planet Paradise, you are going to like Attaboy. It's super cool. I promise a lot of you are really going to like this one. I'm very confident in that. Let's rank it. Where does Attaboy go? It's going inside the top 500. I had a great time with it. How high can we go? That is the question. Let's see. And number 450, A Red Mask from Mars, written by Jonathan Hickman. We should have the artist on that. Who's that? Is that Ryan Bodenheim? I think. Let's put that in there. R.I.P. Yeah, probably look at. Is it better than Miracle Man by Gaiman and Buckingham? That gets hard. This gets tricky. Oh, I don't like doing this. Why do I make my... Nobody asked me to do this. No one requested this. Why am I doing this to myself? Oh, it's so good, but is it better than any of these comics? Oh, I don't know. Oh, this hurts me. This is a terrible idea. I should not have done this live. All right, we are going to put Attaboy. It's better than Rat Queens. It's better than Hawkeye. I think it's better than Grass Kings. Okay, we're scrolling up. I like it a little better than Lunar New Year Love Story, which is out this year from Jean Luen Yang and Liu and Femme. That story's awesome. Yeah, it's going to go a little higher than all of that. Right here. Don't like it quite as much as Tyler Boss's Dead Dogs Bite, but I do like it a little bit more than Ping Pong by Taiyo Matsumoto and the entire Daredevil run by Innocenti and John Romita Jr. But of course, we're talking inside the top 500 here. We've got over 1,114 comics ranked right now. Anything inside the top 500 is something I love and highly recommend. So, all right, let's put Attaboy on the list. Let's do it. I'm telling you, this is a favorite of the entire year. It's going to be in my best of 2024 for sure. Pretty high, too. And then the other one I've been catching up on is Lucifer. Got to talk about Lucifer with my gang, Charlotte and Zach, for the extra issues pod. And I already had Lucifer on the list, but I had never read nearly as much before. So now it's not going to be just me ranking book 1. I'm going to be ranking the whole flippin' 75 issue run from Mike Carey, Peter Gross. You got Dean Ormston, you got Ryan Kelly doing finishes. I'm not gonna. I don't know that I'm gonna adjust that a heck of a lot. It hasn't moved up too much up or down. You know what I really like, actually. You know what I really like is on DC Universe Infinite. Oh boy, I took my head off. Oh boy, I wasn't even on camera and I took my head off. Oh, you're all seeing the real. It's like the wizard, like Oz behind the curtain. Why didn't somebody? Y'all should have been screaming in horror. How did I not hear the screams? Must be the earplugs. Lucifer, what was I saying? Oh, DC Universe Infinite. Turns out you can read by omnibus instead of by issue. And that's really nice with the Vertigo runs that are in there. I've gathered from sharing this on socials that is only available if you are paying for the whatever, the most expensive tier, the Infinite Plus thing they have. But it's really nice. All right. I think we did it. Good job, buddy. We're here at the end of our time together. I'm real flustered after I realized my hat was off. Real shaken by that. Justin says, tax time was getting serious. Hat has to come off. You're right. I think that's what happened. I think that is what happened. Okay. I don't see any more questions we got to address. I also am not seeing any more proof of wolf eating. But I am seeing some suggestions to jump straight to Prometheus. I'm seeing a couple people saying I have to watch Alien vs. Predator. That feels like you're messing with me. I come to you in a spirit of transparency and radical honesty. And you throw Alien vs. Predator at me. All right, I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to do this right in your face. Rotten Tomatoes. What is the score for Alien vs. Predator? 22%. 22% on 148 reviews. The fan rating is 39%. How dare you all? How dare you all take advantage of me and my trust like that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you all for listening. Again, we'll be back next week in an interview with Zach Davison. We're going to go deep on Ultimate X-Men. I'm really looking forward to that. Like, subscribe, share, comment maybe. I don't know. Do something to help. Just try, man. Thanks y'all for listening. Enjoy the comics.